to Vinod, and we also have our superstar speaker Sudhir over here. And yes, I think without further ado, we can get started. I'll just introduce myself. I'm Rohit Radhakrishnan. I recently joined UiPath as the regional community manager for the developer relations. So everyone can reach out to me on LinkedIn and social media and connect. And feel free to write to me anytime if you also want to be a contributor in some capacity to the developer community of UiPath. So yes, Vinod is here. I think Vinod, you can take it over from here to get this introduce the speaker and get the session going.
Thanks for the intro, Rohit. So welcome everyone for this particular event. So thanks for your participation on all those stuffs. So to the ones that who's not aware of myself as well, I am Vinod Rameshwaran. I am the chapter lead for Chennai UiPath community. So for today's event, we have a topics about data service integration with UiPath apps. So these two are particular new two features within UiPath. So which is very exciting to know about. And we have Sudhir, who is an expert in UiPath himself. We brought him for you to present this particular event. So hopefully you all get learned and from his expertise as well. So Sudhir, it is over to you. You can share your screen and you can give yourself an introduction.
Thank you very much, Vinod. Thanks, Rahul. So hi all. So welcome to this event. My name is Sudhir Nimmagadda. So I'm working as a senior software developer in the EPAM Solutions Hyderabad. And thanks for joining this today's event. Let me know once you're able to see my screen. Anyone
yes,
confirm?
We can see it.
Okay. So today, in today's event, so we're not going to, going to the in-depth of the data services, not in-depth of the apps. Okay. The concept is is how we can integrate both the things. So earlier, so before they introduced this feature earlier, so to interact with the UiPath app with the data service, we have to use this process in the middle. Okay. Robot UiPath process in the middle. Okay, so the UiPath app is sending the data to the process, and the process is again connected to the data service to interact with the data. So either it is inserting or that means retrieving the data. So the data service, the UiPath provide this feature data services to store the data into the a tabular format data. It's throughout the multiple robots can use this data. Suppose, for example, so one robot is adding the data, the multiple robots are using that data, are modifying that data. So it's like a crude operation. So create, retrieve, update, and delete operations. It's like a simple database. So before introducing the data service, so by the UiPath, so people are using the Excels and some paid databases, right? So the databases now, so we can use the data service feature. Okay. So before that, so what here I open the data service. So apps, you can see the apps feature in the left hand side, and also here I open the data services. Okay, so we'll create. So what we can do, a sample example. Just opening the one small example from the bots DNA. So there is a school feed you. Okay. So what we can do, so we can create an input form to enter a student name, not roll number, a simple form. Okay. So first we will do, how can we add the data to the data service from the UiPath app? So a very few fields. Okay. So before that, let's create the first step is let's create a table. Okay, a entity here we are calling as entities as a table. Okay, let's create a simple school. Okay, simple school. So once you create an entity is called, his voice is breaking again. Is my voice is breaking? I don't know why it is happening.
No, it's fine, Sudhir. We are able to hear you.
Okay. Somebody's saying. Okay, yeah. Once we create an entity, next thing is search for that entity here. What is our entity name? School, simple school. So here, by default, this all these 5 fields will come automatically. These are all the system columns. Okay, so you have to create a new columns for that table. Okay, so what we can do, we can simply create a student name. Okay, so that student name is a text field. So you can have a data services like yes or no, or daytime, or relationship with the other table, and within that are the file you can upload. Okay, now I'm taking the student name is a one field, and then what is next one is like a admission type. Admission type and transportation fees, or you can simply add the total fee. Okay. Total fee they have to pay. Okay, just click on the save. So how many fields we have? So we created the fields. One is the admission type, fee, and student name. So the people, so here the concept is like, just imagine a simple school. A simple school is one school, the branded school throughout the India. So there is a branches in the Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, and the centralized, okay, so admin is like so in the Delhi. Okay, so what they are doing, so the Bangalore people, Bangalore administrative department, so when the parent or student pay the fee, they will add the data into the form, UiPath form, and it will sit into the a data service. So a centralized location, the data service, this table is currently we have a empty data. So if you go to the data, we don't have any records here. So we have to add the data. So adding the data is from the data service. You can simply add the data, and fill the information like what is the admission type, what is the regular distance, and what is the fee they paid, and what is the name of the student. Okay, we can add from here. It's not like it. So we can create a form in the UiPath apps and share that app through the all 3 locations. So imagine, so they don't need to install the UiPath Studio. They just have to should have an account in the UiPath orchestrator, right? So Bangalore, we can just distribute, share all the form to the Bangalore location, Chennai location, and Hyderabad location. Once they fill, so where the data will come, the data will store into a data service as a tabular format data. So then further, so we can just do different kind of automations, like so checking with the actual fees, how much fees they paid, sending the fee due reports or invoices, right? So we can do that kind of thing. But here in today, so we can just simply do the integration between the data service and apps. So what we've done now, up to now, so we created an entity called simple school. Okay, then we just added 3 fields like a student name, administration type, and admission type, and fee. Okay, so let's go here and build a solution, simple app, simple school app. So from the UiPath App Studio, we created that once blank, a simple page. So in this, we can simply, the first thing what we can do, we can add the data. So I'm just creating the one controls like so. If you want to simply use one image like a schools, any image, I'm just doing the same image, just copy image address, just go to here and click on here, just drag the image, style, just put the center, and here use the URL. Okay, so if you want to change the size, you can change the size of this. So the size is Okay, let's keep it as simple as. Okay. So what we can do, so we can just simply add a labels like, so what is the student name? Okay, student name of the student, name of student, and to add a data, just use a text box to the style is this one. Okay, to add the data, so you can add the data, and this added data will store into the local app variable. Okay. So local app variable. Okay, here. Here, so let's go to here, app variables, just click on this, and student name, just drag and drop this line. Okay, so whatever the user is giving the data, it will store into the student name variable. Okay, so next one, so into the same thing. So label for the administration type. What is that? Admission type. And admission type here, for this, so we can just add the drop down list. Okay, so the drop down list, so you can just use a list of values. You can give the list of values. Use the functions. They have a multiple functions UiPath introduced, okay, in the apps. So for validation, for getting the inputs, these things are. Just use a list of, use the in the double quotes whatever the things are there. So the list of items are regular. We have only two. That is, one is a regular, and the one is distance. Okay, here. So then, what is the next thing? Next thing is like the fee. This is a fee, and so for the fee again, use a text box. Add the variable. So for admission type is also we have to add the variable. So I'm just giving the app extension. AP is application variables. Okay, so the app, and what about this one? This one is automatically changed. And once you select, so again, so you're creating the variable app. Admission type. Okay. So what is the select user selected on the drop-down list, it will store into this variable. So we actually binding everything into the variables. And use this one for insert or something like this. So once you click on the page, so it will just add it into that particular table. So to just integrate that one, just click on this plus button, and there is a entity. Click on the entities and click on the next. Select the tenant and click on the next. And here we have a simple school entity. So whatever we created there in the data services, it is showing here. So just add this into your app. So once you add this one into your app, you can see here in the bottom the identity name. So what we can do, so we can just simply go to the main page, and we can just create a rule bit behind this button. Okay. So whenever this button is clicked, so we have to send those details to the data service. Simply, there is an action event called create and update entity. What we have to do, so we have to select which entity you are going to send the details. So once you select that particular entity, all the column names will show here. So just drag and drop that particular, the corresponding fields. Admission. These are all the app variables. We are just mapping the app variables with the data service columns. Okay. So if you want to write something like when it is created completely, you can show the message box and success. So if you want to clear the variables, again, you can just simply use the set values of this variable is empty, the set value of the other variable, like a fee is empty, set value of, what is that? The next thing, admission type. Admission type is empty. Now let us close this one, save, and let us see how it looks like. Before that, so we have only one record here. Okay, you can see we have only the Hari Babu. See here, our app is ready. Now, Giri Babu, and admission is like a distance, and fee they paid 1,000, and click on the pay. What will happen? It is added successfully. That message came, and not only that, so it will clear all the information. So Karan is regular, and fee is 5,900 he paid. If you go and check here, so we have one, just click on the refresh. So it is adding successfully. So now we are adding the data from the app to the data service successfully. So let's add a few more things like a Jagadish distance pay. Kiran regular pay. Okay. Let us go here and search. So we're able to add everything. Now, what we can do, just go to here, go to app, and this is adding. So what we can do is we can display the data. So how can we display? So the reverse. So it's not like an app to data service we saw now up to now. So we can just use the data service to the app, display all the data from that particular thing to the here. So just there is a table under display. So you can see the under display, there is a table, and drag and drop that table. So here, if you want to use some divider, and and some label like a or header, simple student. Okay. Once you drag this table, see here, once you drag this table, there is a field called a data service. So in this data service, just use the equal to operator and drag the particular entity which we have. So once you added all the fields, the column names came here. The column names came here. Okay, understand? And if you want to add the new columns, you can add on the fly, like a main location sources. If you want to add the show bass matches, okay. Otherwise, you can add not tabular format data. Okay, just remove this one. So we will see without adding the new fields. So these are all the fields, the name, these things and all. If you want to change the name, the display name, you can change here. So total okay, like this. So actually the source beside this column source is a fee only. Okay, now let us click on the preview. It will display the data from a data table. See, this is displaying all the data, like a admission type. Okay, and if you want to rearrange this one, you can rearrange. Suppose student name I want to first, then it is a paid the fee. Okay, so then you can rearrange the data columns also. It's just a drag and drop. Let me preview here. Okay, so we can rearrange, we can change the column name. If you want to display, while displaying the column name, you want to display differently, so you can just do that one. And here, all the details are available here. Okay, let us add this one. So so some data, regular, and fee is like 1,000 added. So if you see here, Ravi contain immediately. Okay, because as it is interconnected, that app and data service, it is happening immediately. Okay, so you can add the data and you can see here. Okay, and now the changing the data, in the column names, in the column order, these things and all. But here, the one thing is, if you want to sort the data, suppose for example, if you want to sort the data, okay, here there is a column called sort, and the entity name. So basically, the syntax is like this. Okay, the syntax of the sort is, let me open it. Sort entity, and then what is the column name? So the column, so which column you want to sort, and so for example, if you want to use a descending order, you can use a descending order. This is a syntax, okay, of the sort. Okay, now let's go here. You can sort and entity. The next is the entity. Then which is the columns. You just expand the entity, you can see all the column names. I want to see about the features. So features based on the fee, ascending order, or just DSC descending order. Okay. Now let us preview. So we have already one preview, which is a general without sorting. This one. Just go here, click on the preview. It is a descending order. You can see the highest is coming in the top and lowest is coming in the bottom. Normally, how it looks like, this is a regular one, so without sorting. So these are sorting also. So we use a descending order. That's why it came here. So if you just use simply without using anything, simply simply sort, bracket open, and then entity, comma, and so the column name. Okay, so let us see here. Without any descending order, so we just remove the descending order, and now it will come as a ascending order. The fee is coming from the lowest to highest. You can see 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, right? So by default, it is a, if you don't mention any order type, it will by default it is a ascending order. So if you mention that descending order, so you can just use a simply descending order. Now that is the one thing. And also, if you want to filter, suppose for example, let us do one thing. So like so we have a data like admission type. Okay, so admission type, just use something like so I'm just adding the admission type here. Drop down list, and here I'm adding at the end. Okay, so then there is a separator. Just use a separator divider between this and this. This is a regular one, and we just use a divider, and then use a label. This is like a something like that. So select the data by filter, and if you want to add instead of that, instead of this, you can just add the header. Just use the add header. You can change the color of these ones, or okay. Then so we add this drop-down list. The drop-down list contains, so again, so we'll just use a list, so we can copy from here the list. So it's not copying. Okay. So what is that? That is a list, right? Here, list, and bracket open, paste. bracket close. So this is a list of items. And what we can do, so whenever the user click on the regular, this will display the regular ones, so regular records in the table. Okay, the below table. So we can add another table. Okay, the next table we can add here in the bottom. So here the data source is the same. Data source is like a this is a regular and distance, right? So this drop-down list, whatever the user is selecting the item from this drop-down list, whether it's a regular or distance. Okay, so we have to store that into the app variable for further use. Okay, just go here, selected variable, selected value, and click here to add the app variable. Selected admission type. The selected admission type added. So what will happen? So whatever the user is selected, okay, any item from this drop-down list, it will store the selected item into the selected admission type variable, app variable. Okay, so we can use that selected item type variable into the further here. This is a syntax for this filter. Filter is a function. The filter is UiPath app function. So within this filter, the filter and entity, it's like a same, but here we have to use a condition. Okay. So, but here the condition is within the brackets, and what is the basically a column or entity column or operator, comma value. Okay, so it is a table. Within that table, we're just giving the condition. The condition is like a, so normally we are using the where conditions, right? So within that condition, the condition is like a, so the column name and operator and value. The operators, these are all the operators like a than, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, right? There's a multiple operators are there. So not only that, so the operators you can say contains, not equal to, starts with, ends with, right? In is also you can use, and not in is also used. Okay, and less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and not equal to, right? You can use like this. These are all the coming under operators. This is a syntax. So if you simply see like a, so equal to filter, if you see the customer or school is an entity, and here square brackets. Within that, what is the column name? Fee, comma, operator is less than, comma, the value. So you can see the, like, so is less than 2000 or 1000, it will display. This is a way, the examples I'm showing. So here, what we can do, we can just simply use the select this table under data source, use that equal to, and the filter, use the filter function, bracket open. What is the next thing? Next thing is, as per here, the entity. The entity. So here, this is the entity, comma, then the condition. Condition looks like this one. Okay. Condition looks like this. There is a 3 parameters. So it's a very easy square brackets and bracket close within the square brackets. So what is the column name? That is the administration type, right? Administration type is the first one, and the operator you can use a simply equal to, and then so we can use a selected administration type, which is selected. Okay, that's it. So let us see now. Preview. So here is a normal value, normal data. So we can see the, just observe the last table, not the middle table. Okay. So, selecting here the regular employees, regular things. Okay. Understand? So if you want to do something like a divider at the end, some dividers. So Okay, here, if you see the table, this is a regular. If you select the regular, so only regular, how many are there in the regular? If you see the regular, we have 3 names, Ravi, Kiran, and Tarun. The same things we are able to display here. Okay, and distance, it is like a filtering the values. And now, okay, so filter by, so it is a filter by one value, right? So we can do another thing like this is administration type. So if you want to filter by something like a value, like a number, so we can use simply fee. Filter by how many people, how many students paid more than this or less than this, like that. Okay, this is a text box, so simply I'm just giving the one variable as a given, or simply paid fee. This paid fee, or yeah, here we can see simply doing the same thing, equal to filter, bracket open, entity, comma, square brackets. In that square brackets, the fee is comma less than this. So this, in the sense, the paid fee less than this. Okay, so let us see now. Now the fee is less than 3,000. So this is a 3,000, less than 3,000. Okay. Suppose if I just say less than 7,000, it will come everything. Okay, see, it will come everything, right? So 5,900 is there, 5,000 is there. I'm just simply saying the 5,000. See, the 5,900 is not came. Do you understand? 5,900 is not came. So if I just simply say 8,000, then it will come as a entire thing. So whatever the records are less than the below 8,000. Okay. Like that, so we can apply the filters. So we can see the sort and filter. These are the two functions we saw, sort and filter. And now we can see the another method called lookup. So the lookup is also the same kind of thing, but the lookup is giving the only one record. It triggers the first entity record that matches the actual condition. The lookup is also similar kind of thing. Similar kind of thing in the sense, the same things, entity and condition. Condition is also the same pattern. Let us see. How can we suppose, for example, let us see here. I'm just giving the one label, enter student name to remove data or remove record. Okay, so that is one here. So we can just simply use the one text box below that, and the styles here. Use one variable to add student name to delete or remove. So just bind that variable here. So you bind, so we can just simply add the deletion button here, remove student. Remove student, if you want to make the styles, is like a remove student, and that is and then so we can write the ref so within this button we can write the rule, create a rule behind that. Okay, so anyway, we stored everything here. So we stored the value which they gave, the student name which they have to remove into this variable. It was stored into the student name to remove. That is a variable name, app variable name. And we can just create the another one. Click on the create rule. There is a second event. Second, the function they gave, like, so we saw the how to create a data. So you created the data from app to the data source. Now we can delete the data. Okay, so when we delete the data, so to look, just use a lookup activity here. Just look for that function lookup, and bracket open, the same syntax. What is that? Entity and condition. The condition have 3 parameters. So entity, then comma, the condition, square brackets. So what is the condition? The condition is if the student name, right? If the student name is equal to what? The variable is the student name to remove. Okay, that is actually the thing. Okay, so lookup is used to, but the lookup filter will return the entire multiple records which is filtered by that particular condition, but the lookup is returning a single first value which is matches for this. Okay, first value only. So now once it is deleted properly, so we can just simply say show message box removed. Okay, so you can say removed. Okay, removed record successfully, and we have to give double quotes. Okay, so then if you want to make that as empty, just use the set value. The value of the particular remove variable should be empty. That's it. Let us see the functionality of the deletion. Okay, now let's go to the bottom and see which one we have to delete. So let's go here. How many are there? So we have a totally six records are there. We can just use the Haribabu. We can remove the Haribabu. Okay, Haribabu. Just click on the remove student. So you can see the name Haribabu is came into the message box also. Okay, the message box. Let's go to the data service and click on the refresh. Haribabu is not there. Okay, so you can remove like that. So you can just not only the names, you can just use multiple conditions like it. So who are all the regular types you have to remove. Okay, so let's remove the Kiran. So just go here. It is affected here also. Okay, that much dynamic here. See here, in all the tables also it is removed. So Kiran, just click on the remove student. The Kiran is removed and it is affected in the tables as well as the data service. Refresh this one so you can see the 4 data. Okay, so that is a actually, so lookup. And if you want to suppose, for example, lookup will give the value. For example, I'm just displaying these who are all regular. Okay, or how much Ravikant paid. Okay, Ravikant paid. Okay, so let us see here. one label. Just before, after. Okay. After this, how much they have to pay? See. Again, here we're just using the lookup. Like open. It's a one label, not a data table or something like that. A rule. Okay. And what is that is like a name. Name is equal to Ravi Kant. I want to see whether the Ravi Kant is how much they paid Ravi Kant. Okay. So Ravi Kant, and so once you close the brackets, you can see simply dot, and you can mention whatever the things like it. So Ravi Kant, what is the fee? How much paid? So here what happens? So look up dot column name. Okay. So you can see the ID, or it's okay. So you can see the not only this. So you can see the ID. So the ID is a geo ID, so auto-generated one, right? So those things and all you can see here. So the ID. Let us preview now. We'll see what will show in the table before that label. Okay. See, 1,000 rupees. At the end, you can see the bottom. See the bottom. Okay, 1,000 rupees is paid by the Ravikant. So it is showing the whole one only. So because Ravikant, so because it will show only the first one only. Okay. Here, the first one only. It won't show the multiple values. It will give the only one. So that's why. So while we are deleting, also we just able to delete only one. Okay, so that is a thing. And if you just simply go to the UiPath apps, and within that apps documentation, you can see UiPath apps with the data services. Here you can see that all the documentation, like so how to sort the customers. Okay, so these are all the filters, right? So everything we covered in this, and you can change the basically the name of the columns and use the multiple conditions, right? So I think yeah, so I covered most of the things. So what we done was just summary. We created one table. We are able to add data, right, initially from the app to the data service, and the next thing we'll learn like how to retrieve the data from the data table to the data service to the app. That is the next table. And then so we use the filters, so to just apply the filters on the data service data. Okay, and then so finally we saw to remove the records from the data service from the app. So this is a called integration, data service integration with the things. So displaying the data to the UiPath service and sort, filter, lookup, everything we covered. Yeah, I'm done, Vinod. So Rahul, so we can see the questions and answers. Yeah, so from the bottom, so we'll see Ashwin is asking, so what is the need of the data service in real time? So the scenarios. So in real time scenarios, you see, so if some, for example, some data, which is one robot is adding the data to the applications. So here, for example, see the app, UiPath app, you can provide to the something like so vendors or distributors, so they can simply add the data into the apps, and this app will just send the data to the data service, and the other robots which is scheduled in the some time period. So this will just pick the data from the data service and update the same records. Okay, update the same records. Okay, normally if you use a queue, so you can't update, right? So that too, it is not like tabular format data. Okay. And also here, so you can just use a relational kind of thing. Ashwin, so am I answered your question? Hello, Ashwin, so you're there? Okay, let's go to the next question.
Lipsa has raised hand, so maybe we can take that.
Yeah, hi Rohit.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually my question is like as you said the field and the attributes you have set, so can we validate it like we used to do in our web applications using JavaScript? So can we validate those fields, like we can restrict up to a numeric or only alphabetic entries, or any kind of restriction can we put it?
Yeah. So we can do such kind of things. Suppose, for example, a fee is there. Okay. Normally, if you go to the data service, in the adding the new field, here itself you can just mention the required. Okay. So that is normally we just specify in the databases, any databases, not null, right? So not null means you have to provide compulsory, right? So like that you can provide from here UiPath data service. And for example, here there is a fee, app fee is there, right? Suppose this pay button you can hide or disable, just simply disable. So there is a method called is blank. Okay, so is blank, which variable? App variable, app fee. But the app fee is variable, is blank. Let us see. Like that you can provide, it's a low code application app. You don't need to write any JavaScript code, simply just arrange the logic, that's it. Okay. See the pay button is disabled. Normally you can see, right? Because the fee is there is no fee. So if I just enter
it's
fee, it's enabled, right? It's that much easy and very simple to do the client side validation kind of thing. Okay, like that you can create one label with the red colors, right? So whatever the things you provide, like so the password should be these many characters, these things and all, you can validate and you can just show the message box.
Okay. So another question from my side, like my database is somewhere hosted somewhere else and located somewhere else. So can I drag can I pull or can I push my data to my real-time database using this?
You're asking about what, database or data service?
These are the services, like if my data is stored in some
SQL, my MS SQL, like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can I pull data from my database, and as well as can I just store it from from my web services to the database where it is hosted?
So you were saying, so database to data service or app to database directly? You put the app to database?
Yeah, this is like app to database.
That is possible. So using the UiPath. So because UiPath Studio, if you just use the UiPath Studio and you can create a tabular from. So from UiPath, you can create one process. Within that process, so whatever the, for example, just create a school data. Okay. So you have to, again, it is not, you have to publish. It is possible. Just click on here. Here itself, there is a another thing like a start process. See here, start process. Okay. So once you click on the start process, you have to pass the process name. So whatever the process you are creating in UiPath, okay, path. So you have to publish the process and pass the process here. So like that, you can send the data to the process and retrieve the data from the process also, because in the main, just declare the fields here. Okay, whatever you want to send, are retrieved. So it is an in underscore like a.
So the actual question is, I mean, she's asking like, so by using the UiPath app, so can we store the data directly into database instead of using the app's data service?
Yeah, we can do. So without using the data service, we can able to send the data from the UiPath app to any database, SQL Server or Oracle, any database, but using the UiPath process.
Okay.
See here.
I mean, in terms of like when we discuss the same thing with the client, so definitely they will ask this kind of question. What is the necessity of having another dependency UiPath process again? So
because there is no direct connection from UiPath app to the any database. Okay, so here you can see simply download that
database activities.
Database activities, right?
Yes, that's true. So
UiPath has facility, but UiPath app does not have a facility to directly. Right now we don't have a facility. UiPath app does not have a facility to directly add to the Oracle or SQL.
Okay, and one more question, Sudhir, like how it is different from the like low code platforms like Mendix or Power Apps or else OutSystem. So these are all the market leaders right in the currently. So how it is different from them? How it is this UiPath apps?
See, it is not only you can create a dynamic web applications so in very less time. Okay, so you can call, so for any, suppose for example, if you just from the drop down list you have to store load the data from the something like folders or file names or any database names. Okay, anything. So it is connecting it, the app is connecting to the all the things like so through process.
Yeah, that is out. I mean, all these Mendix and out systems and the Power Apps also doing the same way. So what is the
compare UiPath apps, UiPath processes? No, right?
I'm asking about the UiPath apps. So when I've seen the questions as well, like when the look and feel looks like it's a completely web. The example you have given, like it looks like a web application development only. So when we have a lot of open source applications, like we have a lot of open source databases, and moreover we having the lot of open source programming languages. Why should be someone has to go to the UiPath apps? And apart from that, like do we need to pay any additional license cost for the UiPath apps and UiPath data service? Is it included inside the orchestrator itself?
It is inside the orchestrator only, but license wise, not that much sure, but so have to have separate maybe, but I'm not sure about that. So for your first question, so it's like so it is a low code application development platform, but see it is to connecting the business applications that it's like it's connecting the data into the it's not like so building like so Wix like that. It is understand. So it's not built for the purely web applications. So it is from UiPath Studio. That means UiPath has a processes, right? So if you want to ask the user to get the input from the web form, so in that cases you can use these UiPath apps. Okay.
Sudhir, can I answer that question? Vajrang here.
Yeah, Vajrang, yeah, please.
Okay, I'm sorry with the name, but I have given this demo to one of the client. See, the main platform is what we are looking at. If we are already using UiPath robots or UiPath orchestrator, if you don't have Mendix or any OutSystems, see, we are talking about platform here, and if you can use UiPath apps as a platform if you are having UiPath within your organization. But if you are already using Mendix, the integrations that you want from Mendix is again you need to call with the orchestrator, and again you need to check with the robots and all. See, if you also check with Microsoft apps, if you are having a complete platform using Microsoft, then it obviously will go with Microsoft apps. In the same way, if you are already having some integrations right away with robots and all with UiPath, then Microsoft apps is the best possible option that we have rather than going with other because of the integration and the platform compatibility. That's the only reason that I gave to my customer as well.
Thank you, Vajrang. Okay, nice.
Thank you. And one more thing you said was Yeah, thank you very much. I didn't remember your name.
Bajrang,
Yeah. So, and one more thing, when it comes to the, just curious to know, like the license cost of this one. Like, if anyone know, just you can mention that one. Others, I don't think so. It is combined with the orchestrator license itself. So completely, it seems like apps and the data services comes with the separate license cost, I believe. So, can anyone answer if you're having any knowledge on this regarding licensing part?
We know here. So to answer that part, like data service comes with a part like where you can use a limit. Like there's a given limit to the enterprise edition as well. So if your company or any organization that is already being which is using UiPath, right? So they would be giving probably a limit to use, just like they can avail. If they exceed that limit, then there's comes to cost of extra thing. Probably like Rohit, if it's there, like he can able to provide and stretch over there. And
Okay. And
it is there, like I have
final
sent a link in the
question,
chat box.
Sudhir, sorry to interrupt you again. And if you have the multiple tables, like in the data service area, like if you have the multiple tables, like if we take any kind of application, we are going to build, we are going to create multiple tables, right? So, okay, while working with the different data sets, that tables, like can we write a combination joins and joins and different kind of logics on the tables here?
Yeah, here, so there is something like a relationship. So while you just create one field, so you can give the relationship with the other table, okay, the parent table. So Oracle, we have a EMP table and deploy DEPT table, right? So like that, you can just, it will display, these are all the columns under the director. Okay, the director is one entity. So from that, so you can just add those things, and also like this, you can just simply create it. Kumar.
Yeah, thank you, Sudhir.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Yeah, so Sagar is asking, is there any way to upload multiple records to in data service? Yeah, there is a way. So from the studio, you can just install the UiPath data service. You can have activities, so you can just send multiple records from, so for example, Excel to these things. But this is like a list of entity. So list of entities, you just for example, here you can see entities. So just use the see here, upload multiple entities. Okay. So, but upload multiple entities, you have to select the entity, what entity you want to send, and input record is the list of that particular entity. Okay.
Okay.
For example, so we can see a simple scroll. So we have to simple scroll, right? So here we can just simply use a list of things. How we can just use a list of things in the same way, a collection of simple scroll. Okay, got it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And any other questions? Okay, so Vikasni is not able to see the data services, but you have to enable the data services from the here. You have to enable the data services. So in the tenant settings, we just here Who is that? Because he's asking, he's unable to see the data services. You can just see this one and save. You're able to see the data services on apps. And any more questions?
Yeah, I asked that to use the data service and apps, what version we should have for Orchestrator and Studio.
So these things are Studio Orchestrator wise. What version?
If you click on help,
yeah.
It should be. So even though I have the same version, but I'm not sure either I need to enable all this.
Yeah, you have to enable. It's not coming by default.
Data service.
Go to the admin, and under tenant, you just click on here. You have to enable this one. Okay. So then only you can able to see. Just try to enable.
Right. Okay.
You're able to see.
Also, is it good that if we create an app without data service? No, but sorry.
We can create without using the. It's not compulsory you have to use, but they recently apps are before apps and data services are before it is there. But recently they just introduced the feature of integrating the app with the data service. You can create apps directly, adding the data or calling the processes. Okay, anything you can use. Thank you.
Thanks, Sudhir.
Any more questions?
So one more question. So I tried with UiPath apps, but if there was one use case where I had to create trigger multiple processes. Sub processes were there. Which was part of one single project. So what is the best practice to create multiple processes in orchestrator or trigger a multiple workflows from a single project?
Yes, so develop so publish multiple processes into the orchestrator and add those processes from here. So what all the processes you want to add, so all the processes you can select right here, and once you add to your app, and so you can just simply suppose, for example, so from this table text box you want to trigger one process. From this list you want to trigger one process. Okay, you can just do for each and every control behind that event. You can just simply go to the create a rule and simply call the process, start the process, and simply use this one. Okay, so whatever the process you want to send. Okay, and the inputs, so the input parameters, everything, so you can see here. Okay, the input parameters which you want to, suppose a customer name, you want to give the values like the app data. Okay, like that you can just supply the values, so mapping the values and simply run. So whenever the user done that particular action, so the event, so it will just call that process and retrieve the data. You are creating the process, so make sure that, so in the main you have to give the directions. In is a data coming from the app to your workflow. Okay, if you just use out, it is sending back to the app. Okay, if you want to display the results in the UiPath app. Okay.
Yeah. So again, so for each process we need to create a different project in UiPath Studio, right?
Yeah, it is a separate process. So we are just adding the process here, right? It's not like so within the workflow. Okay, if you just simply here see here, so you have a processes. We added 3 processes. So within that process, you can call it is directly calling that particular main.xaml. Okay, so you have to just invoke different workflows within that, but either your wishes. So sometimes also one of my projects, what I done, so based on the input parameters, it will act. Suppose for example, in my process, we have 3 kind of works it has to do. So instead of I use the 3 different processes, I use only one process, but within that, so I just give some small like one variable. So in underscore something like it's a pro type. So if this pro type is from the ABC, this will execute. So you use the if condition or switch case, right?
Right, we tried that, but whenever we execute any workflow, any other workflow, then again these values will reset. All out parameters will reset.
But you have to keep parameters properly. So in the same scope, you have to keep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any more questions?
I think we can wrap up, Sudhir. Hopefully there are no further questions. So thank you everyone for joining. This recording will be available by tomorrow on the event page. So see you later. Thanks, Sudhir, for a wonderful session.
Thank you.
And thanks
thank you. Thank you all. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rohit. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.